Section 1. The hidden machine that keeps you in debt. You were never supposed to be free. You were supposed to be productive. From the day you got your first allowance, someone was teaching you how to earn. But no one taught you how to keep. The system was designed to look like freedom, but it's just a smarter kind of prison. That isn't your fault. It's their plan. Banks don't just offer loans. They build entire lives around them. You get a student loan before you get your first job, a car loan before you save your first dollar, a mortgage before you know what interest really means. And they make it feel like a reward. Credit limits go up when you're doing well. They say it's because you're responsible, but it's really because you've become predictable. They trust you'll stay in the cycle. You earn, you borrow, you pay, then repeat. That loop is profitable for them. It drains you. They know you'll come back, because life without debt feels impossible. Try renting a place in any major city without a credit score. Try launching a business without some kind of loan. Try building wealth without access to the system that sells it to you. They've made debt the gatekeeper of opportunity, and you were taught to see the gate as progress. Work hard, build credit, qualify for more loans. But more loans just mean more chains. Here's what most people don't realize: banks don't grow by holding your money. They grow by selling you money. When you deposit $1,000, they pay you a few cents in interest. But then they lend your $1,000 to someone else at 10, 15, even 30%. Your money becomes their product, and your life becomes their income stream. It's a quiet kind of ownership. They don't need to control your choices. They just need to control the tools you're forced to use. The credit card, the 30-year mortgage, the 6-figure student loan. Each one a key that locks you in deeper. They don't want you to default. They want you to almost fail. To pay the minimum, to stretch yourself just enough to keep working. So you stay employed. So you stay earning. So you stay paying. Most people never stop to question it, because everyone around them is in the same trap. Friends talk about interest rates like it's normal. Family celebrates getting approved for a bigger loan. The world claps when you buy things you don't own with money you haven't earned to impress people who are just as broke. And if you say no, if you try to opt out, they tell you you're irresponsible. You're not playing the game right. But maybe the game was never built for you to win. That's why at the Passive Path we don't just talk about saving money. We talk about breaking out. Because you can't save your way out of a system that profits from your debt. You have to build something outside it. You have to think like the banks. And that starts by seeing debt for what it really is. A business model that depends on your obedience. Who do you think taught you that buying a home is always a smart investment? That leasing a car is better than owning a junker? That borrowing for college is the responsible path? Each of those ideas benefits the lenders, not you. They don't care how smart you are. They care how predictable you are. Smart people still fall into the trap, because intelligence doesn't protect you from a well-designed system. Awareness does. And now you have it. The question is, what will you do with it? Next part coming up. Is this conversation helpful so far? Section 2. College. The first debt trap. You're told college is the ladder out of poverty. But no one tells you the ladder is made of debt. A degree doesn't make you rich. It makes you eligible. Eligible to compete. Eligible to borrow. Eligible to enter the system. They sell you dreams and hand you a loan application. By the time you graduate, your diploma is wrapped in bills. And the clock is ticking. Interest compounds faster than your income. You borrow 30,000. You pay back 60. Or more. If you miss a payment, the number grows. If you make the minimum, it still grows. You're not building a future. You're servicing the past. A dentist once borrowed over $1 million for school. Even with a 6-figure income, he couldn't keep up. Each month, he paid over $1,000, but his balance kept rising. After 20 years, he'd earned nearly $2 million. How is that progress? Education should unlock freedom. Instead, it locks you into servitude. And here's the catch. Most colleges don't teach you how to manage money. They teach you how to become an employee. They don't teach investing. They don't teach cash flow. They don't teach leverage. They teach obedience. Show up. Do the work. Collect your grade. Then borrow more for grad school. Your professors, Many have never run a business, never built an asset, never dealt with a payroll, but they teach you what success looks like. Their version of success fits perfectly into the system. You become a high-earning worker, with high debt, high pressure, and low freedom. That's not financial independence. That's financial captivity with a polished title. And it's not just America. It's global. A rising middle class fueled by student debt. The banks love it. The government profits from it. Student loans are now one of the biggest financial assets on their books. The more you borrow, the richer they get. So they tell you it's noble, that you're investing in yourself. But what are you getting in return? If your degree doesn't produce cash flow, it's not an asset. It's a liability. You were taught that assets are things you own. But if it doesn't put money in your pocket, it's not an asset. It's a weight. That weight stays with you for decades, sometimes longer than a mortgage. And here's the part they don't say out loud: even bankruptcy can erase your student loans. You can lose your house. You can lose your business. But you're still expected to pay the loans. That's not education. That's economic imprisonment. So what's the alternative? Learn what schools don't teach. Understand how money works before you borrow it. Ask what your return will be before you invest 4 years of your life. If you're going into debt, make sure it's building something that grows. Something that pays you back. A skill. A business. An asset. Not a degree with no financial plan. You don't need to avoid education. You need to refine it. Read books that teach real wealth building. Listen to people who have built what you want. Track where your money is going and ask, is this an investment or a trap? Because the earlier you see the trap, the easier it is to step around it. The longer you stay in, the more you believe it's normal. You're not lazy. You're not failing. You're playing a game you were never trained for. That ends now. Section 3. Credit cards and the illusion of freedom. The first time you swipe a credit card, it feels like power. No cash needed. No delay. Just instant access. You can eat at nice restaurants. Buy flights you can't afford. Hit cashback, rewards, discounts. It feels smart, but it's not power. It's permission. You're borrowing a lifestyle you haven't earned, and the interest is waiting. Banks don't make money when you pay on time. They make money when you miss a step. One late payment, one emergency, one forgotten bill. Now the interest begins. The balance grows. Your spending yesterday becomes your burden tomorrow. You thought it was just a dinner. Now it's a bill with compound interest. And it doesn't stop. Every time you roll over a balance, the snowball grows. Warren Buffett calls compound interest the most powerful force in finance. It works for you when you invest. It works against you when you borrow. Banks know this. They don't care if you default. They care that you stay close enough to keep paying. That you believe you can fix it. That you think you're still in control. They train you to see credit as a safety net. But it's more like a leash. It looks invisible until you try to move. Then it pulls tight. You can't quit your job. You can't take a break. You can't stop earning. Because you owe. Credit cards sell you convenience, but they deliver dependence. They reward you for spending. They punish you for slipping. The fine print is longer than the marketing, and the terms always favor them. You think you're winning because you got a free flight, but you paid hundreds in interest to get there. You think you're saving with points, but you're losing with payments. And once you build a lifestyle around credit, it's hard to step back. You get used to living in advance. You stop checking prices. You forget the feeling of using real money. Now your paycheck is just a way to cover the past, not a tool to build your future. And here's the scary: even if you pay off your balance, they still win, because they've trained your behavior. You're used to borrowing, used to relying, used to reaching for the card. That habit is the real asset, not the interest, not the fees, but the pattern. They don't want your one-time mistake. They want your lifetime participation, and most people give it, because it feels normal, because everyone does it, because not having a credit card feels risky. But real freedom is the ability to choose, not the illusion of access. Use credit if it serves your plan. not theirs. Pay it off each month. Treat it like a transaction, not a bailout. If you cannot buy it twice, do not swipe once. And if you're already trapped, start today. Cut the card, not just the balance. Build assets, not purchases. Because the goal isn't just to avoid debt, it's to reclaim control. The passive path isn't about fear, it's about freedom. And freedom starts when you stop calling change your safety net. Section 4. The American dream is collateral. They told you to dream big. They just didn't say you'd have to finance it. The American dream sounds like freedom, but it often starts with a signature and a 30-year debt. Buy the house, get the car, build a life worth showing off, but none of it is really yours. Not until it's paid off. And by the time it is, you've already replaced it. A mortgage is sold as an investment, but if it doesn't pay you, it's not an asset. It's a liability with a nice front porch. You pay interest for decades. You pay property taxes, maintenance, insurance. You pay for the right to say I own this, but until the final payment clears, the bank owns it. You just rent it from them with a better title. Same with the car. You sign the lease. You drive it off the lot. It loses value instantly, but the payments stay the same. You work harder. You earn more. You upgrade, but the cycle never ends. Inflation keeps rising. Wages barely move. What used to cost 20,000 now costs 50, but the script stays the same. Work hard, buy more, upbeat. And if you try to live differently, they tell you you're falling behind. No house, no car, no vacations, no luxury. Then what are you even doing? You're doing something rare. You're thinking. You're stepping back from the trap. Because real ownership isn't about things. It's about freedom. A house you cannot afford is a prison. A car payment you stress over is a chain. Lifestyle debt is quiet, but it screams every time you check your balance. And here's where it gets worse. You think owning is always better than renting, but not when you're over-leveraged. Not when one missed paycheck means foreclosure. Not when the market crashes and your home value drops. They say rent is drawing money away, but so is interest when you can't sell. So is maintenance when you can't breathe. So is pretending when you're drowning. The truth is neither buying nor renting is the goal. The goal is control, cash flow, stability, freedom. That's what the passive path is about. Not showing off what you bought, but earning what pays you. If your home doesn't generate income, it's not an investment. It's a lifestyle expense. Same with the car. Same with the clothes. Same with the image. You don't need to impress anyone. You need to escape. Because while you're buying things, someone else is buying time. They're buying assets. They're buying freedom. And they're using your payments to do it. That can change, but only when you stop calling debt a dream. Section 5. The trap isn't alone, it's the mindset. Most people think the goal is to get out of debt, but the real goal is to use it. Debt isn't always the enemy. Use right, it's a tool. Use wrong, it's a leash. The difference is mindset. Poor people fear debt. Middle class people manage debt. Rich people control debt. It's not about avoiding loans. It's about understanding leverage. Banks borrow money every day. Corporations run on credit. Governments live in debt. But they grow, because they turn borrowed money into income. Most people borrow to consume. The wealthy borrow to build. That's the difference. If you borrow for education that earns more, it's leverage. If you borrow for a home that cash flows, it's leverage. If you borrow to invest in an asset that pays you, it's leverage. But if you borrow to upgrade your car, it's just expense. If you borrow to impress, it's just vanity. If you borrow without a return, it's just risk. Financial education flips the mindset. It teaches you to ask different questions. Will this loan produce income? Will this debt grow or shrink my wealth? Can this expense become an asset? It's not about cutting up your credit cards. It's about using them like a scalpel, not a sword. Precision over emotion. Clarity over status. Control over comfort. People say don't take risks, but the bigger risk is staying broke. Broke isn't just about money. It's about thinking in limits. Avoiding debt at all costs is still fear-based. Smart debt is about control, not chaos. Rich people borrow more than you think, but they don't panic when the bill comes, because they plan it. They use debt to create cash flow, then use cash flow to pay the debt, then repeat the process. That's the system. The same one used against you can work for you, but only if you flip your mindset. Think like an investor, not like a consumer. Don't ask if you can afford the payment. Ask if it pays you back. Don't chase credit scores. Chase ownership. The system won't teach you this, because it profits from your confusion. But now you see it. Debt isn't just about math. It's about direction. Use it to build up, not to cover up. Because you can't budget your way to freedom, but you can build it, one smart decision at a time. Section 6. What real financial education looks like. You were taught how to earn, but not how to keep, not how to grow, not how to exit. That's not an accident. Most schools don't teach financial independence. They teach financial dependence. Get good grades, get a good job, get good credit, then buy things you can afford. That's the cycle. It keeps you earning just enough to stay in it, but never enough to leave. Real financial education teaches you how money moves. It starts with knowing the difference between assets and liabilities. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes it out. It sounds simple, but most people get it backwards. They think their car is an asset. They think their home is an asset. They think a job is security, but none of those pay you without effort. A real asset earns while you sleep. It doesn't need you to clock in. It doesn't need you to hustle. It just works. You also need to understand cash flow. That's the flow of money through your life. The poor spend everything they earn. The middle class earn more, but spend more too. They buy bigger houses, better cars, more stuff, but their expenses rise with their income. They stay on the treadmill, one layoff away from collapse. The rich do it differently. They buy income, not status. They use money to buy assets, then use assets to pay for their lifestyle. The order matters. Poor earn, spend, hope. Middle class earn, spend, borrow. Rich earn, invest, collect. Look at a basic cash flow chart. Money in, money out. Where does it go? If most of it goes to liabilities, you're stuck. If it goes to assets, you're free. It's not about how much you make. It's about what you do with it. You can make minimum wage and build wealth. You can make 6 figures and stay broke. The difference is direction. Here's another tool the wealthy use: financial statements. Not complicated spreadsheets. Just 2 simple documents. Income statement and balance sheet. Income statement tracks money in and out. Balance sheet shows what you own versus what you owe. Most people avoid these. They think it's for accountants. But it's not. It's for anyone who wants control. If you can read those 2 things, you can see the truth. You can see why you're stuck. You can see where to cut. You can see what's growing. And you can fix it. At the Passive Path, we break this down step by step. Not with jargon, with clarity. Because once you know how the game works, you stop playing blind. You stop chasing status. You start chasing cash flow. You start building real wealth, one asset at a time. Section 7. Building real assets even if you're broke. You don't need millions to start building wealth. You just need the right steps. Assets aren't just for the rich. They are how people get rich. There are 3 ways to build assets. Buy them, build them, borrow to create them. Let's start with buying. You take your income and use it to buy something that pays you. Rental property, dividend stocks, digital products, anything that sends money back without needing your time. Even small cash flow matters. $100 a month is a start. Now you're getting paid without showing up. Next is built-in. You create something once that pays you over and over. A YouTube channel, an online course, a book, a business with systems. You trade time upfront for income later. No middleman, no boss, just your idea and execution. You own it, and the internet makes it possible. Anyone with a phone and a skill can build an asset. Now the 3rd method, borrow to create. Use smart debt to buy or build income-producing assets. Real estate investors do this every day. They borrow from the bank, buy a property, rent it out, let the tenant pay the loan, the asset pays the debt. They keep the difference. That's leverage. The asset earns more than it costs. Now they do it again. This isn't theory. It's how wealth is built quietly every day. And here's the key. You don't need to start big. Start with one ebook, one rental, one ad campaign, then grow. The first stream of income is the hardest. After that it compounds. 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4. Now you have a system. You're not just working, you're building. And building beats earning, because you can stop working, but your assets keep paying. That's the point of the passive path. Build it once. Get paid again and again, even while you sleep, even while you travel, even while you rest. This isn't luck. It's design. You design your income. You design your time. You design your life. That starts with one decision. Stop consuming. Start creating. Stop spending. Start owning. Because assets don't just give you money. They give you time. And time is the real wealth. Section 8. Your exit plan from the system. You don't escape the system by rejecting it. You escape by outgrowing it. Step by step. You build. You compound. You exit. It starts with clarity. Where's your money going? Where's your time going? Where's your energy going? If it's all going to survive, not grow, it's time to pivot. Cut the excess. Cancel the upgrades. Sell what doesn't pay you. Reduce what doesn't serve you. Free up capital. Free up time. Use both to create something that grows. Build your first income stream. Small is fine. You only need proof it works. Now protect it. Don't upgrade your lifestyle. Don't announce it. Just keep building. Stack skills. Stack cash. Stack control. Now invest in scale. Automate the process. Delegate the parts you don't need to touch. Keep what brings in value. Now repeat. Income grows. Options grow. Your dependent shrinks. The job becomes optional. The schedule becomes yours. The pressure lifts. You are not surviving anymore. You're building. You're choosing. You're free. And when you're free, you can help others. Teach them what you learned. Show them it's possible. Be the proof. Because the world doesn't need more hustle. It needs more builders. It needs people who have exited the cycle. People who own their time. That's what the passive path is about. Not theory. Not hype. Just the quiet process of freedom. One asset at a time. One move at a time. Until the system can't touch you. You don't need permission. You just need the plan. And now you have it. You don't have to play the same game forever. You can build your own path. One that leads to ownership. To freedom. To peace. That path doesn't require luck. It requires action. And now you know where to start. If this video helped you see things differently, like it. If you want more content like this, subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment and share this video with someone you care about. Someone who might be stuck and doesn't even realize it. Wishing you clarity, strength, and momentum on your journey. Feel free to check out the other videos here on the passive path. And I'll see you in the next one.